Hello, everyone. Good morning and good evening. So, welcome to the 12th session on Creator Tech Connect 2024 series on product release updates from Zoho Creator platform. So, Creator Tech Connect series is a free monthly webinar that happens during the second week Thursday of every month. So, to brief about the series, it comprises of pure technical sessions where we take different use cases, dive deeper into the technical detailing or the nitty-gritties of those use cases, and then we take different problem statements, will show how it can be dealt within the Creator platform, and will also show the best practices that can be followed while you're building a solution on top of Creator platform. So for this month, we've taken product release updates. This session is specially curated for the community users for them to stay updated on the new releases, enhancements, and improvements that are made to the Creator platform so that they can make best use of these features while implementing it for their clients or for their organization. So I'm Abhinaya Kannan. I'm from Zoho Creator training team, and I'll be the trainer for today's session. Before getting started off with the session, we've got few housekeeping rules. All the attendees will be on mute throughout the session. Please post your questions in the questions tab that is available on left-hand side of the panel. Our co-trainers will be addressing them parallelly. A recording of the session will be sent to all the registrants and attendees post the session, so you don't need to worry about that. We would request you to participate actively in the polls and surveys that we're planning to initiate during and post the session. Your suggestions and feedbacks are very important to us in regulating our upcoming session. So for the better screen visibility, I'll be turning off my video and we'll resume the session. So here goes the agenda for today. We'll start off with the first release updates, which is Zia Assistance using Zoho GenAI. So how Zia powered by Zoho LLM can be used for the application building process. And then we'll take you through the enhancements that are made to the application creation process. Following that, we'll take you through a release updates on Subform column freeze, when and where this Subform column freeze should be activated. Following that, there is a deluge task update on multi-field, update. So we'll be taking you through the multi-field task update as well. Following that, we'll show you the field permissions for the portal users, how you can set permissions at the field level for the portal users. And then we'll take you through the portal enhancement where the portal users can log in using the LinkedIn account. And then we have SAML authentication enhancements for the portal users. We'll dive deeper into that release updates as well. And we'll conclude the session with enhanced flow for connection creation. So all these release updates will be explained with a use case and a live demonstration. Let's get started with the first update, which is Zia Assistance using Zoho's GenAI. Now you can create applications and forms using Zia Smart AI Assistant. So you can build your applications or forms through the conversation, and you'll also get the field suggestions while you're creating your form. Let's see how this can be achieved. So Zoho Creator is integrated with Zoho's native LLM, large language model, and OpenAI as well. Zia Assistance is now powered by Zoho's LLM model. As you know, AI makes information available across the web and beyond, right? So it has revolutionized the way we access and retrieve the information. No matter how broad or specific your search is, it'll keep you up to date on the information, and it'll keep you relevant on the information that you search for, right? So now we'll be seeing how Zoho Creator integrated with Zoho's native LLM and OpenAI, how these integrations can be leveraged for making use of AI for the application, form building, and field suggestion process. So Zoho's native LLM and OpenAI uses the natural language processing, meaning you can type your queries in the conversational tone, or you can type the text or the input just by words. It will understand the context, intent, and the relationship between the keywords and it will give you the desired output. So it has a text in and text out interface. So you can type your application requirements in this interface. So the descriptive input that we give, we call it as a prompt. Based on the input queries that we give in the conversational tone, you will get the desired output that tailors to your requirement. So what are the steps to configure Zia with Zoho's LLM? Go to Operations under Manage section, and then there is an option called Zia. Under Integrate Zia with LLM, choose Zoho. So I'll take you, while taking the live demonstration, I'll navigate through these options and I'll show you how it can be achieved. So here are a few of the screenshots. When you get into the Manage option, navigate to Operations. When you click on Operations, you'll have an option to choose Zia. Click on Zia and it will prompt you to a screen where you will have the configuration to integrate with a LLM. By default, Zoho's LLM will be chosen. So for the new signups, Zoho's LLM will come as a default option and it is free to consume. We also give an option to use OpenAI model if you have the API key. So beneath that, you can see Enable Feature option. You can control the Zia features you would like to use in your account, whether may be for the application creation or form creation or for the field suggestions. So you can also set the access control, whether it has to be enabled for the admin and super admin. Apart from Zoho's LLM model, we also have OpenAI integrated with Zia Assistance. Now you can make use of OpenAI if you've got API key purchased. Now let's get into the use case. We're going to create a point of sale management application to track the retail sales, product inventory, warehouse and store management, the seasonal discounts that the organization gives, and also the gift card tracking. Let's get into the live demonstration and see how this is achieved using Zia Assistance and Zoho LLM model. So I'm getting into the creator account. Under operations, let's first go to the configuration of LLM. I'm getting into operations and you will have Zia option, right? Under the Zia, you can see two different tabs. One is configuration, another is usage. So under integrate Zia with LLM, you can choose Zoho. Zoho comes by default. If you wanted to go with OpenAI, you can go with OpenAI as well. Now we have enabled create app, create form, and next field suggestion. And we've given the access control to admin, super admin for all the three components. I'll get into the solutions. And I'm going to create an application, which is point of sale management application. So on the top right corner, we have an option to create solution. And you can create using Zia. Now Zia is powered by LLM, right? So here you can type your requirements, application requirements in a normal language as a descriptive input, which we call it as a prompt. So I'm going to give it as develop a retail point of sale application with sales tracking, product list, product inventory tracking, store and warehouse management. And if you want, you can have the procurement added as well. Product discounts needs to be captured. So I'm giving product discounts. And then I'm going to give gift cards. The seasonal gift cards and the discount should also be captured. So we have this option called generate use cases based on the keywords that we have given. LLM and the Zia Assistance would, do the market analysis, and then or it'll, analyze all the existing application relevancy or the connection between the keywords, and it'll generate the desired use cases. So we have sales tracking, product inventory management, and gift card redemption. So these are the modules that it is generated. Apart from this, if you wanted to add the custom module, we have an option to add the custom module. So in the custom module, I'm giving it as discount tracking. And beneath, you can see include sample data. So while creating the application layout, do you want to include the sample data? I've enabled this option. Now an application layout will be created along with the sample data. I'm hitting on generate application layout. The app layout is getting created based on the queries that we have given. It has analyzed all the keywords and the connection between the keywords. And it's taking a few seconds for the application to get created. Further, after creating the layout, you can go and customize the layout as per your requirement. Meanwhile, I'll get into the application where we have already created retail confectionery point of sale. So this we've created using Zia Assistance option. So here we have the dashboard, which has the panel, charts, quick links, and other components included. The total product price, the purchase amount, total gift card balance, total product displays, how many shelves are available. You can also have the quick links. The quick links are also generated. So this is a dedicated dashboard that has gotten generated while we created the application. Apart from that, we have all the products displayed, and it is categorized categorized based on the display location. So we have the customer segmentation, product sampling, gift card calendar, and then employee details, employee performance details, customer information, a feedback form, a product discount form, and the order details. So based on the keywords that I've given, a layout like this has gotten generated. Further, you can go ahead to customize this layout. Let's see if the application has gotten generated. So apart from application generation, we also have an option to build the forms using the conversation, right? So if it is taking some time, probably we'll get into the same application, retail confectionery point of sale. I'm going to edit this application, and we're going to build a form using the Zia Assistance option. We'll go ahead to build a form using the conversation. That is the Zia Assistance option. So while creating a form, there is an option called, you can build it from scratch, you can import with the data, and you also have an option to use the Zia option, right? So now we have the retail confectionery point of sale system. So if you wanted to add more modules to it, let's say I wanted to add a procurement module. Design a procurement module, vendor registration form. So it'll suggest you the form fields. When I click on this suggest form fields, it'll prompt you to a screen where it'll display all the fields. I can choose the fields that I wanted to include in the form. So vendor name, vendor email along with the field type, vendor address, phone number, type, description, contact person, contact email, and phone number. So I can take off this, and then I'll go ahead to create the form. So now you can see that a layout has gotten created, right? Apart from that, there is an option to get the field suggestions. So when you hover here, there is an option called show field suggestions. So this would be available whenever you create a form layout. Click on this and it will suggest you a list of fields. You can go ahead to choose the fields that you want. So vendor registration date, vendor license number, vendor payment date, vendor product display images, product features, vendor product categories. So a product certification, we're going to go with this vendor product certification and the vendor payment notes. So this would be available in the every form. I'll just get into the feedback form now. And here in the feedback form, we have the field suggestions as well. So now you can go ahead to add more fields to your form. So I can add the feedback type, the product rating, and if required, the product satisfaction level as well. So in this way, you can have, field suggestions and a form and the application created through the conversational queries. So now I'm accessing the app. Vendor registration form that we created. You can, see it here. Apart from that, in the feedback form, we added a few fields, product satisfaction level and the product rating. So both the fields has gotten displayed here, right? So now we'll get back to the presentation and I'll take you to the key pointers. So this Zoho LLM is currently available for use, for US and INTCs. For the new signups, as mentioned before, the Zoho LLM will be chosen as a default integration option and it is free to consume. In case if you have the API key, you can go ahead with OpenAI as well. Let's move on to the next release updates, which is enhanced app creation. What are the enhancements that are made to the app creation? So first is at the dashboard level. When you're creating applications using import a file option or using create using Zia Assistance, you can see a dedicated default dashboard that is being created. So this dashboard includes, the panel charts, other components like reports, quick links, etc. Right? Apart from that, we can see based on the data, it will quickly analyze the data and create the reports, based on the use case, like Kanban report, calendar report, list report. So let's say there is an application which has got the address field, or if it has got the timeline field, then based on the data, it will create the calendar or the map report automatically whenever you're creating an application. And we have the next one is the improved look and feel. So a Zoho Creator, when you're creating an application, it'll segment all the sections appropriately, and the application themes, colors, and fonts will be applied automatically. So these are the enhancements that are currently made to the app creation process. To just show you the older version and the newer version, whenever you create a form, a list report will get created by default. Now, the look and feel of the list report looks like this. You can see the item sold, the color differentiation based on the item sold, and the list report is also created by default. And based on the data, Kanban report, in case if you've got the status field in your application or the form that you're creating, Kanban report will be created by default. And you can see the calendar report as well. So if you've got any timeline related information, calendar report will get generated by default. So now let's move on to the live demonstration. So we have an app, Excel file where we are maintaining all the sales data, salesperson information, and the item details. I'll get into the app. Now, I'll get back to the dashboard. We'll use import from file option, and we will see how the enhancement looks like in whenever you're creating an application layout. So I have the file stored in my local storage. So there is a file called sales data, right? So this has got the order information and also the salesperson information and item information. So these are the three different sheets that are available in the Excel file. Under sales data, we have order ID, date of sales, item sold, color of the item category, region, salesperson, and you can also see the smart suggestion over the top. So when you click on the smart suggestion, on the right hand side, you can see it is given under the sales data, there are duplicate rows, and under items sold, there are 15 inconsistencies. So in case if you wanted to proceed with refining those information or the data based on the smart suggestions, you can go ahead to do that. So apart from this, we have salesperson information, where we have first name, last name, age, number, there is a mobile number, and under item details, we have the item, price, and the category. So this is available in the Excel sheet. Now we've imported it. And when you get into design, you can see the schema builder, relationship between the forms. So you can also go ahead to, change or remove off the relationship. Now we are going to import the data as such. Using the create import option. We'll go ahead to use a different name, sales management, and click on create. Zilker sales tracking. Now click on create, and the application is getting created. You can go ahead to access the application once it is imported. Once you access this application, you can get to see a default dashboard with the panels, charts, quick links, and the components. Charts like bar chart, we have the total price sold, the count of sales data, how many sales representatives are available, total number of items that are available in the store, total number of online and offline stores, and then quick links to directly get into the form from the dashboard. And we have the bar chart, distribution by the item category, and sales data report being embedded into the dashboard. And this is also differentiated by the store using the color. Right. Apart from this, we have the sales data report and the regions, which is differentiated, a Kanban report, which is segregated based on the region. And we have salesperson's report, which is a list report. Apart from that, we have item details. You could see the enhanced dashboard look and feel. The application theme, font, and color has been applied automatically when you're creating an application, right? Now I'll move on to the presentation. So the next enhancement that we're going to see is Subform column freeze. So when you're dealing with a large number of columns in your subform, then the process of navigation or editing the fields in the subform would be very complex, right? So to increase the readability or enhance the readability of the viewport, we've introduced this subform column freeze option. So when this subform column freeze option is activated, the first two columns or one or two columns, that is first and second column, will freeze depending upon the width of the overall viewport. So once it is frozen, then the first two fields will become the reference point, and you can navigate through rest of the fields. So this would be applicable when you have too many number of fields. Let's say you have more than 20 or 30 fields. So navigating or editing those fields would really become difficult, right? So in those cases, you can have first and second column as a reference point, and you can just navigate or scroll through the rest of the fields and have it edited or viewed. Now we'll get into the use case. We're going to use the same retail confectionery POS system. So we have product details, we have order details, right? So product details has gotten around, more than 10 fields, 10 or 12 fields. So when there are too many, I'm going to add this product details within the order details as an existing subform. So using the subform column freeze, we're going to enhance the readability of the viewport by freezing the first two columns or first two fields. Let us see how this is done. I'll get into the live demonstration. So in this retail confectionery point of sale, we have order details. So this is a main form which will capture the order number, order date, and customer information. I'm going to add the product information as a product details as a subform. So within the product details, we have product ID, name, description, price, image, category, status, product model, weight, length, height, warranty, and too many fields are there in the product form, right? Now, when this is added as a subform, existing subform, I'll open the form builder, and then I'll go ahead to add the subform. So I'm going to make use of the existing subform, which is product. Once added, let's change the name of the field name of the subform as product details. So once it is done, in the field properties, now I'll get into the live mode of the application and we'll go to this add new option. So you can see that one column, for one column, that is for the first column, the freeze is activated. So keeping this product ID as a reference point, you can navigate through the rest of the field, product image, product category, product status, manufacturer model, etc. Right? So I'll also get into the edit mode. Now there is an option to set the width of each fields manually, right? So based on the width of both the columns that we are choosing, or the first and second column that where the freeze is activated, it has to be 30% or less than the overall viewports column width. So meaning, I'll take you to the order form. So here the product details, this we call it as a viewport, right? So the width of the product ID or the product name, in case both the columns or the fields where the freeze is activated, if the width is less than 30% of the overall viewport's width, then the first and second column will be activated. In case if it is exceeding the limit, then either one column or one field will be the freeze will be activated, or the freeze wouldn't be activated at all. So what we can do is we'll try to change the product, the width of each field, 500, 500, and then now we'll access the app and we'll see the freeze, the column freeze is not activated. That's because it exceeds the viewport's overall width. It comes more than 30%. So we'll also try to change the width in other way. We'll try to reduce the width of all the columns. I'll get into the form builder, the subform, and let's adjust the width width, and we'll give it as 100 for all the fields. So click on done, and let's see if first and second column, if the subform first and second column, the freeze is activated. Yeah. Since we have reduced the width of each column, it hasn't exceeded the limit of overall width of the viewport. That is 30%, right? So it has, activated the freeze for both product ID and the product number, right? So I'll get back to the presentation and I'll take you through the key pointers. So the first, as mentioned, the first two columns combined should be equal to or less than 30% of the viewport's width for the forms that are added as a primary component. Let's say if you're embedding a form in a page, or if you're publishing a form outside an application, in those cases, the percentage would be 40% of viewport's width. So what if the limit exceeds? So if the limit exceeds, and if the first column complies with the limit, then the freeze will be activated just for one column. And if the first column also exceeds the limit, the subform freeze will not be activated at all, which we saw now, right? Now, let's get into the next enhancement, which is update multiple field deluge task. So we have a deluge task updates, wherein if you have to update multiple fields within your form in a single operation or in a within a single deluge statement, then you can go with this update multiple field task updates. So it can be triggered at various workflow events, like whenever the record is created or edited, or created and edited or deleted, on load of the form, on user input of the form, on successful submission of the form. So all these trigger, it can be triggered at various workflow events. Now let's look at the syntax in the update multiple field task. So if you wanted to update the field values in just the first record, let's say you have a list of records stored in the collection variable. Now if you just wanted to update the first field value, then this is how the syntax would look like. Update collection variable, field link name is equal to expression, and it has to end with a semicolon, and you're closing with a square bracket. So if you wanted to update every record of the form, then you can go for the for loop option. Let's say you have the list of records in your report. You wanted to iterate through every record and then update, the field value in all those records. In those cases, you can go for this for loop option. For each loop variable in the form link name, here goes the criteria. You can use the syntax update loop variable, field link name is equal to expression. And then the third syntax, in case if you wanted to update the first record with some filter conditions or some criteria, then you can mention the criteria. It is going to be the same update task syntax. You can mention the form name along with the criteria, and then within the square bracket you can have the field link name is equal to the value or the expression. Now let's get into the use case. We've taken an application called Zilker recruitment process. Let's assume that there is a recruitment agency which manages all the candidates' applications, all the client details, and the job openings, job profiles, etc. Let's say through the candidate application form, all the candidates would apply for the job openings or the job profile, and the interviewers would be allocated. Interviewers or the room number would be allocated based on the batch. Assume that the recruitment agency has received hundreds of applications. Now, let's say this 100 applications is split into 5 different batch. in the first batch, 20 candidates, and in the second batch, 20 candidates. In rest of each batches, 20 candidates are allotted. So for each batch number, we're going to allocate the interviewer and also the interview room number. So we are going to do a bulk update and also a single record update using this update multi-field task. Now let's get into the live demonstration. I'll take you through an application. I'll close this off, which is a Zilker recruitment process. So under the Zilker recruitment process, the agency maintains all the client details, the candidate application details. So within this candidate application, we have the basic information of the candidates being captured, professional details, attachments if any, and the candidate status. Along with that, under the professional details, we have the batch number, interview room, and also interviewer information, which would not be visible for the candidate. And the recruitment agency would use a job openings module to list all the openings along with the skill set. What are the must-have skill set, good to have skill set, the job description, for which client are they looking for, and the job title, department, etc. Right? We also have the portal registration through which the candidate or the client can register to the portal. Apart from that, we have the master form to capture the departments, employees, skill set, and we have the batch details. Within this batch details, for each batch, who will be the interviewer and what will be the interview room number. We have captured this in the master form. So in this candidate application form, once the candidate is submitting the application, the HR or the recruitment agency would go ahead to allocate the interviewer and the room number based on the batch, right? So batch number, interviewer details, interview room, etc. are available in the candidate application form. Now I'll edit the application. So bulk update can also be done, and the single record can also be updated. I'll get into the workflow. We've already written a workflow in the candidate application. Whenever the batch number is edited or updated, so after the candidate submits the application, the HR or the recruitment agency would go ahead to change or update the batch number, right? So we've written the workflow on user input of the batch number, and the event is created, record event is created or edited. Now I'll quickly take you through the code. So input.batch number refers to the current, within the candidate application, there is a batch number. We are referring that batch number as input.batch number. So we are assigning that to a collection variable, which is current underscore batch number. So if the batch number is not null, we are fetching the corresponding batch details record. And also we have a form called batch details, right? So we're checking if the information or the batch number given in the candidate application form is equal to the batch number that is available in the batch details form. So we saw two different forms. One is a batch detail, another is a candidate application form. Whenever the HR is updating the batch number within the candidate application form, it has to match the one in the batch details form. If that is the case, and if the batch record is not equal to null, then you're updating the current that is within the candidate application form. Whenever you're referring to the field in the current form where you've written the workflow, then you'll make use of this input dot, right? Input dot interviewer is equal to batch record is a collection variable where we are collecting all the batch number that matches with what we are selecting, right? So based on the batch number chosen, the interviewer will be allocated from the the batch details master data. And input dot room number is equal to batch underscore record dot interview underscore room number. So the interviewer and the room number is allotted based on the information available in the batch details. So these are the information available in the batch details. And we've written a else condition. If not, we are setting it. We are setting a null value, and we are clearing the fields if no matching data or matching batches available. And we're also clearing the fields if the batch number is empty. Interviewer information and the room number is equal to null. Right. So now we'll go ahead to, I'm getting into candidate application. We'll try to change. Let's say once this information is updated, we'll go ahead to change the current batch number. I'm giving it as 2, and the interview room and the interviewer information has gotten populated. So this you're doing it with a single record. You can also do a bulk update by writing a function and having it called in the workflow. So I've used I'm getting into the function. Within the function, we have a function called interviewer details bulk update. So we've used static information, which when executed, let's say you have a minimum batch number, and let's say there are only 2 batches available, and I wanted to update, the interviewer details and the room number to the batch number 1 and batch number 2, and I wanted to do a bulk update. If you wanted to update in bulk for the list of records, we'll be making use of the for each loop or the for each statement, right? So for each, first I'm, collecting all the candidate application, which has got batch number is equal to 1, and I'm assigning it to the collection variable, which is batch 1. And I'm iterating through each record. So this record is a loop variable, and I'm iterating through this collection variable, and I'm using update record syntax, where interviewer is equal to, I've given a static value, and I've given a static value for the room number as well. And we are doing the same for batch number 2. So it'll iterate through the candidate application report, records, and then it'll find for, batch number with value 2. If it is found, then it'll update the record. Interviewer is equal to Grace Palace, and the room number is equal to Lakeview Tower. Right? So this, when executed, let's try to execute the same. So all the records with batch number 1 and 2 would be updated with the relevant interviewer name and the interview room, right? So batch number 1 and 2 has gotten updated. So in this way, you can make use of this multi-field deluge task to update, the multiple fields using the single deluge statement. Now I'll get back to the presentation and I'll take you through the key pointers. So what are the points to be noted? In case if you wanted to update the fields for drop-down radio button, multi-select and checkbox fields, then you can specify the values other than those configured in the field properties. In the field properties, you would have defined the list of values for the drop-down radio button, multi-select and checkbox, right? Apart from this, if you're using a different field, that field will get updated only in the records, and it will not get updated in the, the master data, or even if you have given allow other values. So you can specify the values other than those configured in the field property. If you have a URL field, we have a HTML format. You can make use of a anchor tag to specify the URL field value. And this is the format. href URL, you can give the title, target, and the link name. And if the URL, if you wanted to go with URLs without tag, then it can be specified within the double quotation This is applicable only on success in the following workflow events: on success, on create, on edit, and on create or edit workflow events. If you have an image field which needs to be updated, then you'll have to specify the URL as a field value. So this is the URL format. You have the href, anchor tag. You can specify the image with the extension. And then this image has to be in the public URL format. It has to be a public image with a URL. Then you can have them updated using the update field task. The next one is field permissions for the portal users. So how can you set permissions at the field level for the portal users, and why is it required? So you can have more granular control over the fields that needs to be visible to the portal user. What fields has to be visible to the portal user and what should be visible to the org users can be defined at the granular level using this field permission. So in case if you've got any sensitive information which should be available only for the admin or super admin, then you can set the field permission for the portal users and restrict the access for those sensitive information. So where can you find this field permission for the portal users? When you get into settings, click on the application, and then on the top corner you'll have three different tabs, right? Workflow and settings. When you get navigate to settings, it will take you to this page where you have user permissions and portal user permission. In this portal user permission, you have module access, view, edit, delete, and more. Click on this more, view all option, and we have this field permission. So initially it was available only for the internal users. When you create a permission set for org users or internal users, you can set permissions at the field level. But now we have opened it for the portal users as well. And once you click on the field permission, it will prompt you to this screen where you can set the visibility and if you can just give the read-only permission. So now we'll take a use case, which is Zilker recruitment process. We saw all the candidate application will have candidate information, professional details, which has got the interviewer details, batch number, etc. So while giving portal access to the candidates doesn't need to view the interview room or interviewer details or the status of the candidate, right? So in those cases, you can have the field level permission set to the applicant or the candidate. Let's see how this is done. I'll get into the application. And in the candidate application form, under the professional details, we have interview room and the interviewer information. So and the batch number as well. So these information doesn't need to be shown to the candidate. When you get into portals, we've already created a portal for recruitment process, which is Zilker recruitment process, which is a public portal. So here you can set the, there are 6 portal users, and let's get into the application. Let's get into the settings, and under the settings, portal user permission. In the portal user permission, we have created a permission set for customer, client, and applicant. Under this applicant, we have the candidate application form for which we have given the permission set. Now, let me get into this field permission option, and then this has got the personally identifiable information, PII data, EPHI data, and all the fields where you can set the permission level, the visibility, and if you wanted to enable just a read-only option, you can do so by enabling this read-only option. So here we have disabled it for the batch number, interview room, and the the interviewer information. Now, when the candidate is trying to access the portal, I'll get into the portal. We'll have the portal URL copied. I'll open this in an incognito mode. Once you get into the portal, under this candidate application, we have an applicant named binayajk@gmail.com. Just go ahead to give the password. It'll take you to the portal where the candidate will be able to see under the professional details, we had the batch number, interviewer information, and the interview room number. So those information are not available, would not be available for the candidate when getting into the portal, right? So now, let me get into the presentation and move on to the next product updates. So how the portal users can log into the portal using the LinkedIn account. So this we call it as a federated login, right? So when you have the LinkedIn account, you can sign up to the creator portal using this the LinkedIn account. Here the LinkedIn acts as an identity provider where it will authenticate and validate the user, and then provide the response to creator. Once the response is the parsed and sent to creator, the user will be able to log in using this LinkedIn account. Now let's see the the steps to configure. First, navigate to the portal under deploy. So we have a portal, and in the portal, choose the portal where you wanted to set the authentication. Under this, select the required portal. I'm choosing Zilker recruitment process, and after that, click on the default authentication. Once you click on the portal, it'll take you to the page where you can see portal user authentication, email notification, and page customization. Click on default authentication, and you have an option called LinkedIn, correct? So now you're in the creator portal. After that, you can move on to the LinkedIn developer portal. That is a dedicated portal for the developers. So which is called the LinkedIn developer portal. You can select the LinkedIn service. You can visit the LinkedIn portal, and then there are a few steps that needs to be followed to configure the LinkedIn login. So the first step is to create the application. There will be an option called create apps. So what I'll do is I'll directly take you to the application, Zilker recruitment process, and under that we have authentication. Under this default authentication, we have LinkedIn, and here you can see the LinkedIn option, right? So now I'm going to get into the LinkedIn developer profile. Under this LinkedIn developer profile, I have this My Apps. You can go ahead to create your app. I've already created the Zilker recruitment. You can give the app name and the LinkedIn page. You can give the LinkedIn page on the privacy policy, upload your logo, and you can accept to the terms and conditions. Once it is done, your app will be created. So here we have already created this Zilker recruitment app, and this is how the app settings would look like. So once it is done, there is a tab called products. So sign in with LinkedIn using OpenID Connect. Choose this as a product. Once you give the request, this will get added to your products. And then you can have your team members added as well. And as a third step, you have auth option. Under this auth, so from the creator portal, You will have assertion consumer URL, which we call it as a ACS URL or the redirect URI of the portal. So you can copy and paste the redirect URI within the LinkedIn developer portal. So the first step is to create the app, and the next step is to add the product, and then you can get into OAuth, and under OAuth, you can add the redirect URI. So this redirect URI, when you get into Zilker, the authentication page, I'm sorry, I'll get into the portal page. We'll choose recruitment, and then let's get into default authentication, and I'm choosing LinkedIn. I'll try to recreate it once again. There'll be an option to add. So once you click on this add, redirect URI would be generated. So which we call it as a ACS URL. Just copy this URI and then have it pasted in the LinkedIn portal. Now I'll edit this portal. Click on update. And then I'm going to update this portal URL. Once it is updated, you will have the client ID and client secret. Once you generate this, the next step is to create the client ID and client secret from the LinkedIn developer portal. So once you create this client ID and client secret, have it copied. I'm copying the client ID and I'm going to paste it in the portal. So we have an option to paste the client ID and also the client secret. Once it is entered, you can have this updated. So you can have this saved, and this can be done only by the super admin and admin. So the portal configuration, once done by the super admin and admin, the users can, once added, they can use the URL. And if they have the LinkedIn profile, they can use this LinkedIn profile to log into the portal. Now we have added the client ID and client secret. Once you get into the URL, the configuration is done. I'll open the incognito mode and so let me try to get into a different profile, or I'll open it from here. So you can see that you will have an option to sign in using LinkedIn. So the portal users, the user can directly go ahead to choose this option to do the federated login. That is, they can log into the portal using the LinkedIn account. Right. So this is another update. So here are the steps that we saw now. Okay. So apart from this, we'll also look into the key pointers. We have pasted the client ID and client secret, and then now we'll move on to the key pointers. So this federated login is accessible only in the paid plans. As mentioned, only the super admin and admin can configure the federated login for the portal. So we'll move on to the next update, which is SAML authentication enhancement for the portal users. So how is it beneficial? Initially, we had the SAML authentication only for the org users. So there was no direct sync between the portal and the identity providers. Admins can manually add the user under the portal section, right? Now, using this update, the IDP provider, it can be Okta or OneLogin, they act as a identity, a provider where they authenticate or validate the user and parse and send the response to creator. And once it is validated, then the portal users can log in using the portal. So this would be beneficial when, if assume that there is a user or a customer or a third party service provider, any portal user, uh, to whom you wanted to provide multiple application access. It would be very complex or the strenuous process for them to remember the login credentials for each of these apps, right? So when the SAML authentication is enabled for this portal user, the IDP will take care of the rest. Once the apps are added to the IDP and once the users are assigned, so whenever they're logging in, the authentication and the validation will be done by the IDP, and using the single login, the user will be able to log into multiple application. So here are the steps. User would try to access the hosted Zoho app, and Zoho as a service provider would generate the SAML request, and the browser would redirect to the SSO URL. Here, identity provider, let's say one login, it parses the SAML request and it authenticates the portal user. So the partner, the identity provider would send the SAML response back to the service provider, which is Zoho. And here the ACS, I'll explain about this ACS verification once I get into the demonstration, verifies the response, and then user would log into the Zoho application. Now we'll get into the live demonstration and quickly see how this is done. So I'll take you to another. We have taken the IDP as one login. So I have already created an account in one login where we have options to add the users. We have options to add the applications as well, right? So we have an application. I'll take you to the application called Zilker Duty Free Shop. Sorry about that. I'll switch it here. Okay. Okay, this is the application where we are capturing all the, the POS, point of sale, retail sales tracking is done using this Zilker duty free system, which has got the point of sales module with the order number, store details, selling products, the product stock level, SKU code, UOM, price, available quantity, order quantity, and we have the stock levels maintained. We have an option for the vendor to register to the portal, and we have a registration form, and we also have the procurement module where we are capturing all the purchase order details, right? So we will be using SAML authentication for this application. So I'm getting into the portal, and we've already created a portal for this Zilker duty-free system. And under this portal user authentication, click on authentication and go ahead to use, SAML option. And once you click on that, ACS URL, assertion consumer URL, service URL will be generated. So this is the URL that we would be using within the one login portal. And we also have the entity ID. Have this copied. Once the SAML configuration is done in one login, we will also get the login URL, logout URL, and a certificate ID, right? Now I'll get into the one login. We'll add the application. Under this application, I'm using SAML Advanced Connector. Choose this option. And then give the description of your app. Duty free and then click on save. It will take you to the configuration page where you'll have to give the entity ID and the ACS URL. So we have already copied the recipient ID, ACS URL. It is the same for ACS consumer URL validator, ACS consumer URL, and the recipient. So you can refer to the one login documentation for the same. And we have entity ID as zoho.com. So once the configuration is done, click on save. And the next step is to get into SSO. So we have the issue URL. So this has gotten generated automatically. We have SAML 2.0 endpoint and SLO endpoint. So this we call it as a login and logout URL. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it as a in the login URL, and the endpoint I'm going to paste as a logout URL. So meanwhile, there is a certificate key that would have gotten generated. I'm copying this key and I'll have it pasted here. Once it is done, click on configure and choose the algorithm as well. The algorithm is RSA algorithm. So now the configuration is done, right? So from the SAML, within one login, we've added the ACS URL, and within the creator portal, we have added the login and logout URL. So this login and logout URL are the one with which the customers can log into the portal and log out of the portal, right? So once the applications are added, the next step is to add the user. So I'm going to add the user. To the user, I'll be adding the application. So we've already added one application. Now we're going to use this application called duty free. Click on done and save. So we've updated it successfully. Now I'll get back to the portal and copy this URL. If I try to log in using this URL, it will take me to the one login page. So the user authentication will be done by one login. And then I'm going to give the password. And click on continue. It'll take me to the portal page. So in this way, the user can, there is a server error, but once the users are added, they can, this is the page that they will be redirected to. One user can be assigned multiple apps, and with one login, they can, log into multiple applications which they are assigned to. So in this way, they don't have to remember the login credentials of each and every application that are assigned to them. Right. So the next update is enhanced flow for connection creation. So previously, whenever you're trying to create a connection, you have to give the connection name manually, right? Now the connection name will be auto-generated when you choose the connector, and it can be edited anytime. Same way, once the connection is created, the authorization will, you'll have to authorize and use it for different environment. For each environment, you'll have to enable the authorization. With this enhancement, you can use the same authorization for all the environment unless you choose it for different authorization option. And the authorization account name is also auto-generated based on the data source or the third-party account that you're choosing. The authorization account name also gets auto-generated. So this is how the screen looks like. The connection name, when I'm choosing the connection to be Twilio, the name will get generated automatically, and it can be authorized by the administrators or the logged in user. But the connection can be managed by admin, super admin, and also the developers. It can be authorized only by the admin and also the logged in user. And the authorization will also be applicable to all the environment. So now I'll take you to the live demonstration where we're going to see this Zilker recruitment management. So here I'm going to open recruit.zoho.com. Whenever the candidate application is generated, it has to be updated in Zoho Recruit under this candidate application. So if we are performing this integration, we'll have to create a connection, right? So I'm getting into microservices and I'm going to choose connections. And under this connection, I'll search for recruit. So once I click on this recruit, it'll take me to the screen where I can, okay, one connection is created already. So I'll refresh it again. We'll create a new connection, create new, and pick and create. I'm choosing Zoho Recruit. So Zoho Recruit connection 3, I've already created one connection. So now it shows Zoho Recruit connection 3, right? So the connection authorization you can set at the administrator level or for the logged in users as well. And also you can set the action level. If you wanted to, define the scope only for certain actions, you can define it. Use different authorization for each environment. If you enable this option, you can use different authorization for each environment. Now, if I click on this create and authorize, one point to be noted is you should have the recruit application opened. It will take you to the authorization page, or I'm giving new account. It will be authorized, redirected and authorized. Once you accept it, the authorization will be successful. Now a connection will be created and you can have it enabled for the required application. So for Zilker recruitment management, we can have it enabled and then we can use it for the integration process. So here you can see the service name, permission, authorization, which is enabled for all the environment. So this is the enhancement. These are the enhancements that are made to the connection and authorization. I'll get back to the presentation again. To summarize about what we saw, what are the release updates that we saw today? We saw how Zia Assistance powered by Zoho LLM, that has been incredibly beneficial for building the application using the conversation, forms using the conversation, and also for the field suggestion process. And what are the enhancements that are made to the app creation? How can you activate subform column freeze and when it has to be activated? And where do you want to use, or where should you be using the deluge multiple field task? And then we saw the portal enhancement. What are the enhancements that are made to the portal? The LinkedIn account, SAML authentication, and the field permission. And we concluded with enhancement flow for connection creation. Right. With this, we are coming to end of the session. So these, hopefully, all these features would be beneficial when you're implementing it for your organization or for your client. With this, we are coming to end of the session. We've got upcoming sessions in 2025. We have a Creator Tech Connect session, which is scheduled for January 23, 11 a.m. IST time. We have a QR code and also a short URL. You can make use of these QR code to register for the session. We also have a learning table series. So learning table series is a monthly webinar that happens during the first week Thursday of every month, where we delve into the business cases, use cases, and across different industries, how can you build solutions in Creator. So we mainly deal with the business cases during this learning table series. So here is a QR code, and we also have the a link. You can make use of this link, or you can make use of the QR code to register for the session. For any further queries related to training, you can drop an email to training@zohocreator.com. Any certification related queries, you can write an email to certification@zohocreator.com. In case if you have any technical queries or anything related to your use case, then you can drop an email to support@zohocreator.com. Thank you so much.